Say hi, Jack. Habla. Good.
See, especially I'm like he's just as he's almost bigger than he's like Jaguar size. I'm like he's got to be bigger, but I understand now, though.
Right. It's because I don't count the body fat, because if you were to condition an animal, his true weight is going to be his working weight. And if you were to
Right.
go, if you were going to go compete in an event with Jaguar, and you wanted him to perform at his best, you may not get him down to match weight, but you're going to get him in peak condition for not necessarily again, not maximizing his strength to weight ratio, but maximizing his strength. Because at maximizing your strength to weight ratio, you're trying to match at a specific competitive event against another individual at that exact same weight. That's not what I'm interested in, because I'm not participating in any type of illegal activity. I'm not matching dogs in combat. I want the dog to be at its peak, not peak per pound, but peak. Because when I go hog hunting, I don't know if I'm going to catch a little hog or a big hog. And if I go jogging, I don't know if a dog's going to come running out of a house. It's going to be a 120-pound American Bulldog, or if it's going to be a 55-pound Pit Bull, or if it's going to be a Doberman Pinscher, or a Great Dane, or a Rottweiler. My dog has to be prepared for anything. So it needs to be at its peak, not peak per pound, but peak. And because, obviously you can take you take Brock Lesnar. He competed at 265. That's what he weighed in, but he actually fought at 280. Well, if he was peaked at 265 when he weighed in, why did he fight at 280? He fought at 280 because he was better at 280. He needed his strength back. So, or whatever it was that he weighed, when he actually had his match the next day after he rehydrated. So I don't worry about the peak per pound. I worry about the peak. So when if I've got a 90-pound dog and I'm at an ATM machine, that dog is actually, and I'm in a car and I'm using an ATM machine. The dog, any bigger than 90 pounds, it's going to be really difficult for that dog to be able to deal with the perpetrator through my lap and the steering wheel and the window. You
Yeah.
know, but 90 to maybe 100-pound dog, but you get a bigger than 100-pound dog, you got too much dog. The dog is now stuck on the other side of the vehicle, or it's hurting me in the process trying to bark. Do I think that would happen in real life? No, perpetrator's probably going to look for a easier vehicle, especially if you uh, or have a dog that's aggressive. The perpetrator's probably going to leave you alone. But I just feel like peak performance is more important than peak per pound. So I want a dog that can small enough to do all tasks, big enough to do all tasks. The
So
jack
what?
of all trades.
So for potential clients or even current clients, what are some like exercises that you recommend for them as far as like how to raise them and bring them up? Because some people might go too far, they start too young, and they just being so in a rush.
Yeah, look at the work that I did with Justice and Tiggy when they were pups. We did really good work with them, um, and then stop at 16 weeks.
Mm.
So work them when they're, start working them when they're 6 weeks old. Um, but so say it. I'll start it over. So we've done work with dogs, with gunfire. We've done work with whips. We've got them doing really good. But at 16 weeks, we stop it, and then we let them teeth, let them mature, and then when they get back to like 8 or 10 months old, we'll work them again. But then we use somebody else as a decoy.
Mm.
So you can imprint puppies with yourself, but when they start to teeth, it's time to stop. Just let them grow up, and then when they're adults, you can have another person help you out.
So do you recommend like the flirt pole and all that to get them in
Oh
shape?
yeah, oh yeah.
Flirt.
You can use flirt pole's a great exercise. As far as conditioning goes, one of the most important things is to observe the animal. Watch when they're heavy. Watch when they're lean. If they're lean, feed them more. If they're heavy, feed them less. And then as long as the animal is basically at their proper weight, a lot of times they'll exercise themselves because they feel good.
That's true. They basically Jaguar basically he just basically, because he got so much prey drive, he basically get himself in shape, like
Yeah,
fetch.
'cause you don't let him get overweight.
Yeah,
You
he
just
just
enjoy your animal. If you
yeah,
want to jog, jog. If you don't want to jog, don't. But
yeah.
the main thing is to avoid obesity and to avoid malnutrition, and you do that by feeding a decent diet on a regular basis. And when they get heavy, feed them less, and when they get thin, feed them more, and deworm them. Deworm them. It's probably a good idea to use ivermectin every 2 to 3 weeks, but we have a habit of doing it once a month. But we're probably going to change to every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We had a case where a dog had got heartworms because Mississippi, we have so many mosquitoes here. So
Oh,
if you miss a treatment, boom, they're going to get heartworms. So making a habit of doing it every 2 weeks, and if you miss one, it's not quite as critical because we're getting it more often. It's very safe medicine.
oh, okay. So it helps with that too. So okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
ivermectin is the what you use for heartworm medications. There's things that you can buy that from your vet that have ivermectin in it, or you can just get ivermectin, and the dose is 1 cc per 100 pounds.
oh, 1 cc for 100 pounds.
Yeah,
Oh,
cc is a milliliter. A cubic centimeter is the same as 1 milliliter.
oh, okay. So as far um as like, because some people like personal protection, some people don't want their dog to do personal protection, but they just want their dog to do sport. So people that just want to do sport is an ideal candidate for to buy one of your dogs as well, just for
Yes,
sport.
I'm 100% confident our dogs would excel at sport. If you want to win nationals, maybe you should stick with a herder. But if you like these dogs and you want to do sport, they can absolutely do sport. I would rather do these dogs in sport because I know that the whole purpose of sport is to have an entertaining exercise with a dog that you like. And so now, if sport is your goal, then stick with a herder like a Malinois or a Dutch Shepherd, or I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't even bother with a German Shepherd. I'd probably go with a Dutch Shepherd or a Malinois if sport is your goal. But if enjoying your dog is your goal, then get the breed of dog that you like and then do whatever activity is the most enjoyable for that dog. And so, since I like gladiator type dogs, I would get a dog like an American Sentinel, and I would do sport work as a venue to bond and work my animal.
You can do PSA. You don't
You can
necessarily
do
have to
PS,
do IPT or French Ring. You can do PSA.
yeah. There's a bunch of choices. There's PSA, there's Canine Pro Sports, there's APPDEA, there's French Ring, there's Mondio Ring, there's Schutzen or IPO. Um, they there's a bunch of different options out there. You can do weight pull if you want to do that. I tend to believe in uh, a more protective mindset, so I do more protection work. I don't really do street work sport work.
Yeah.
Um, I'm more interested in something that's more practical for my lifestyle.
I, I
That was something that offended some people. They wanted me to go out and do sports because they wanted to see my dogs do sports. Well, okay, you want to see my dogs do sports? Buy a dog and do sport. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to see your dogs do. Well, I don't want to do sports. I want to do protection work.
yeah.
You know?
I'm almost certain that they can like. I'm like almost certain that they can do. Like, there's no reason why they can't
Well,
do.
why would they not? They've got great prey drive. They're tough as all get out. They're extremely athletic. Um, there's been a few dogs like Mike Dizak. He had one, and I don't know if he titled. I know he won a competition um, in a. I'll have to ask him what it was in a PD or something like that. I forget what it was. It was not. It's one that's growing right now. In a something, I think, but um, National Association of Protection Dogs. Maybe that's it.
They got some new one, Canine Street League too. I think that's kind
Yeah.
of Canine Street
The
League.
Yep. And a lot of liability comes with protection works. We used to do protection training for the public. I don't do that anymore. I've had too many people over the years contact me and ask me for a protection dog that they could basically leave on their porch. And I'm like, no, if you have a protection dog, there is no leaving the dog on the porch. Your dog can run out and hurt somebody. I believe in leash laws. I do not believe in licensing breeders, but I do believe in self-governing. And unfortunately, a lot of people do not self-govern. And that's why we end up with laws, because people don't self-govern. We're
Yeah,
supposed to govern ourselves so we don't have laws limiting our life or limiting our freedoms. We should be as free as we want. But when we are free, we two things come with freedom: responsibility and liability. Uh, we have to accept responsibility to prevent being liable to others. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't accept responsibility. And so then you have governments come in and try to govern the industry. And this is not the way to do things. So I will occasionally pick up a client for protection work, but it's really, really, really rare because I seldom get to know somebody well enough to do that. So the only training that we do for protection work now is somebody involved in the American Sentinel program.
yeah,
That's the only breed that I protection train because I need to limit the number of people that I interact with when it comes to protection dogs. People need to be responsible. You need to learn how to handle your animals, and if you see trainers doing nonsense, you need to speak up. Because there are some trainers out there that are um, do some things that should not be done with dogs.
yeah. And a lot of times, like just knowing the personality of people, some people that get dogs, a lot of people like get dogs like it kind of gives them like attention. And if you got a dog that's like naturally civil aggressive and you taking it around trying to have everybody pet it and pay attention, that's not really not a good situation for the dog in my opinion.
Sure, and I've had sport trainers tell me that you don't. I don't need a Sentry dog. There's no reason for a dog to uh, not be social. There's plenty of reasons for a dog to not be social. If you have leash laws, and if you have good, if you're a very like for example, my dog Preacher Man. Preacher Man, I never took him in public. And somebody might say, well, then he's not a protection dog. Well, we had other dogs. We also had Lynn, who was more social. But here at the house, he was a Sentry dog. Sentry, Sentry, a gatekeeper. You can't come in with Preacher Man unless you're family or you're really close friend.
Yeah.
And people might say, well, why would you need a dog that intense? If I need a dog that intense, I'll live somewhere else. Okay, fine, go live somewhere else, but I don't want to. I like it here.
Yeah. See, a lot of times people they want to, I don't know, they just want their dog. I guess it's other breeds out there where you can be protection, but they'd be a little bit more social. I'm sure you can get
But
like
but
social
also,
dogs, like super social. Like, I don't know.
um, to me, a dog is like a firearm in some ways when it comes to protection. Not every firearm has the same purpose. Okay, you
Right.
have long range, you have concealed carry, you have shotgun,
Yeah.
short range. You have convenience. For example, a pistol cannot do what an AR-15 can do, and an AR-15 is not going to do what a shotgun can do. So you have different applications for different things. And to me, um, getting the right tool for the job is important. So if I want a dog that's going to be more social, I would take a dog like Lynn. When I went to train with Ivan Balabanoff, I didn't take Preacher Man because I probably would have been asked to go home. If I would have walked out on that field and that dog wanted to clear the area, nobody could touch me. All right, that was a very serious guard dog. But if I took Lynn, who was somebody that people could pet, she would tolerate it.
Mm.
She would bite on command, but she was more social. Well, why would you need a dog that's so serious that nobody can touch me? Well, maybe I'm not home. Maybe the dog is protecting my property. And somebody says, well, now your dog's going to like possibly kill somebody. Well, yeah, but why are they in my house? Well, some people say, well, you shouldn't be allowed to protect your property to the point that you could hurt somebody's life.
Uh,
They weren't invited in. They're not invited in. You're not going to get hurt if you don't come in.
that's like appeasing to the criminal. Like, who does that? We're
Yeah,
not appeasing to you. Like, oh no, it doesn't work like that. You can't. Like, that's stupid.
right. There's
Please.
different open. Like for example, my house might be open to you, but my bedroom's not. In
Right.
the same. There's a time and a place, and the same is true for the dog. There's a time and a place.
Yeah. For all the people that is gonna listen to this, I'm telling you from my own personal experience. You like, I don't. When it comes to Jaguar, you can't like you won't be able to come into my crib. Like you're not going to be able to do it. Not even close.
Yeah.
And then
It's interesting that he's not dog aggressive.
I
That's
know,
pretty
yeah. Maybe because I don't know why, yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe you socialized him a lot and you didn't allow it. And I don't
I
go.
didn't
I don't.
I only let him play with like two of my clients' dogs, and they was like one of the dogs was like, but not none of my clients' dogs like actually liked him because he played so hard, and they would try to correct him, and then I just never let him play with nobody else. Maybe I don't know why, yeah, or maybe he. I don't think he would be.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. I do not like dog aggression, but I don't select for it or against it. If
Right,
it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not.
right,
Because I don't want my dogs playing with other dogs. I want them playing with us.
yeah.
We're their pack.
And that's what people get caught up in too. They want to take their dogs to the dog park and
Yeah,
they
major
just
mistake.
social. The dog park be more about the humans socializing than the dogs. Like it's no.
That's
If
right.
you have fun with your own dog, they don't need to really play with nobody else. So that's the thing people don't realize. They don't
Dog
need.
parks are a good place to get people hurt, and a good place to get dogs hurt. Good place to get sued. Good place to pick up disease. Parks are not a place for me.
It's always a fight. Like at the one big one around here, it's always a fight. Like every single time, and then the owners
Hmm.
get into it. I mean, it's just a disaster. It's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Yep.
So, so you say you had 9 female pit bulls and 7. So you got a new, you got one off of Jazz and Vlad, right? I forgot her.
Yes. Her name is Dolly.
Dolly, yeah.
Yeah, we named her Dolly because she likes to sing a little bit.
Oh, she
She's
like
pretty.
like Dolly
Yeah,
Parton,
she's pretty
like Dolly
pretty
Parton.
vocal. Yeah.
Okay. So she's up and coming. Then
Our, she's a young dog, but she's hot. I like her a lot.
yeah, Vlad been putting in some work because Vlad and what's her name? Vlad and Onyx, the one Ryan got. She is like super hot. Voodoo,
Uh,
Vo-
yes.
Voodoo ain't
And
no joke.
yes, and then Anthony um, has a dog off of Vlad and Ladysmith that's real nice.
Oh yeah. Anthony, yeah. Her name is Libby, I think.
Yes.
Libby, yeah. And some guy that follows me, he said he about to buy 2 dogs off of you. I was like, that was up. I forgot his name. He about to get 2 dogs, I think, one from you and one from Ryan
Oh
breeding.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but he always on my channel. He always supported me. Yeah,
You talking about G?
that's his name.
I'm asking.
I,
GEE.
he uses a different YouTube name, so I don't think that's it. But he told me he's getting 2, and he told me the breedings because I seen the breedings. I was like, wow, you lucky. You gonna get some fire because of the breedings
Yeah.
that's coming up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know he's getting
Yeah.
one.
It's really taken off. You know, Ryan's. You know, if we put a few pit bulls with Labby, then that's going to give me like maybe 5 more spots where I could have some more Sentinels again, and so we're going to be back up to close to 20 Sentinels, and then well, right now I probably got close to 20 Sentinels, but I got a lot of males. I've got I got a lot of males, and
You think so?
so
On the
I
list, it
did.
got more females than on the website.
Well, we have a lot of males, and they may not all be on the website, but it helped because I just got rid of Vlad. I just got rid of Justice, not Justice. I just got rid of Vlad, and I just got rid of Vicious. So that was 2. But we also have Reptar. So Vlad and Vicious. Then we have Reptar. Then we have Justice. Then I have Ranger. Then I have Slam. Then I have Scratch, Bumper, um,
Kobo,
Cobalt. Um,
his breeding with Onyx was nice, and he brought
Yep.
out the all black dog because I don't see none of your dogs is all black except with Kobo because he's all black.
Yep.
All
And
black,
and
yeah.
then yep, and then we have a young dog named Red Rum. Um, let's see who else. That's 10 Sentinel males right there. So then we had uh, it was nice to place Jazz out. It was nice to place Phoenix and Mystique and Widow, as you know.
Hmm.
So these dogs have given us more room for us to keep some of the young and up and comers that we needed. And we have Trinity. So females right now, I don't have as many. I've got Trinity, Elsa, Halo, Lady Smith, um, Dolly. Um, I'd have to look. I'm sure I'm missing somebody to try to name all in the head. But last I counted, I had 7
Nova,
females.
yeah. Do you have Nova, or does Keaton have Nova?
Nova's with Keaton. Nova's
Oh,
with Keaton. Yeah.
you got Onyx,
Yes, Onyx. That's the female that we have. And Venom. I've got Venom. Venom's a nice dog.
Venom. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Venom scratching Widow, yeah.
Yep.
And Rogue is with Keaton Temple.
Rogue is with Keaton. We're about
Mm,
ready to retire her. We're gonna try to breed her one more time, and if
mm.
she doesn't take, we're retiring her. We'll place her out.
Are you gonna breed her to one of your dogs or one of Keaton's?
I'm not sure who he's gonna breed her to, but we were thinking it. We discussed possibly breeding her to Vicious, so we'll see. Because even Rogue is a giant dog, but she's actually had a number of small offspring. If you look at
Oh,
Rex, yeah,
she
Rex is
110 pounds. I'm like, God.
yeah, she's huge, but she has small offspring. So breeding her to Vicious should add some leg in there, get that
Mm,
size, keep that size up. But she hasn't gotten pregnant the last couple of times she's been bred, so she may be a
mm.
little maybe getting up there in age.
Yeah. So that Venom and Bumper, yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna decide which one I want to do. So we talked about that. Let's see what else. You are open to working with others because I know one guy. I forgot his name, but he has Draco. Draco was Onyx's son. Relentless Bandos. I forgot the guy's name, but Draco is a nice dog off of Onyx. His name is. He's in California somewhere, I believe.
Don't know who you're talking about.
Relentless Bandogs is
What is it?
Draco. Relentless Bandogs is
Relentless?
yeah, and he got and it's one of Onyx's sons. His name Draco. He's nice.
Hmm. What's the man's name?
Maybe it start with a J. I just see him on Instagram. I know he's in California,
Hmm.
and Draco be producing as well too. So you got
Devin
the
Gamble's got a nice female.
yeah. Did he ever breed? That's how the Justice and Mystique, right?
Correct.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. We're
She's nice.
hoping he has a successful litter out of her because she is nice.
Who is he going to take her to?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Devin. He's a A1 kind of guy. Good dude.
Yeah, that was nice. We'll see. We'll see on that one, and then you got So you're in great hands right now with your pit bulls, and then you said what's the guy's name that you say you be dealing with the pit bulls? Lavy, what's his name?
Lavi, Lavi.
And what's the name of his kennel?
Battle or Catch Guard.
Catch guard, and he does strictly pit bulls.
He's interested in the Sentinel also, but right now he's just working with the pit bulls, and it's kind of like I think he even when he first came to me, he got a pit bull and he was interested in the Sentinel, but we ended up working something out with Miss Bull where we placed Miss Bull with him. He bought
Oh,
pit bull from us, and he also has a pup off of Frankie Bomp and Sadie that we produced, and so now
oh,
he's got
yeah.
he's bought 2 pit bulls from us, and we gave him this bull under an agreement that we would do a co-breeding together because he's going to raise the litter, and then we're going to work together on that.
Okay.
The Yep, and so I've gone through real hard and thought about if I was going to downsize the dogs. Black Betty's going to be a really hard one to let go of, but I may let go of her. But I really want to pop off of her first. I'd like to breed her with, we bred her to Reptar. That didn't go so well. We're going to maybe try it again. I'm not so sure.
She didn't take. Oh yeah, that was.
She had a real funny heat cycle, so she doesn't come in heat like some of the dogs I would like. Most of our I've talked a little bit about some dogs that had some fertility issues, but most of our dogs heats like clockwork every 6 to 8 months. But we have a few that are a little tough, and Black Betty's one of those ones that's kind of tough.
Yeah.
And she had a heat cycle. We bred her, and she acted like she may have had an infection or whatever, but I don't know for sure. And I she bled for a while. Like it's normally a heat cycle, 2 to 3 weeks of bleeding. Well, she bled for like a month. And so I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I just like gave her some space and let her, the dog's health is more important than getting a pup. So we didn't breed her and we left her alone. And then 3 months later, she came in heat again. And so that's way too soon. And so just in case there was anything going on, I just, I'm going to stand back and leave her alone, let her do her thing and make sure she's healthy before we do a breeding. And I think it's important to sometimes do that. There's no breeding is worth, in my opinion, hurting the female.
Right.
So we just stood back and let her do her thing, and she's strong as an ox. But I'd love to get a pup off of her.
You definitely gonna do Reptar with her, or are you still undecided?
Well, part of me thinks about doing Boomer with her because that'd be double bred on Frankie Bomb. Um, the one litter that Black Betty did have was a Frankie Bomb Black Betty. It was a father-daughter breeding. That's the only litter that she's ever had.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And it was an okay breeding, but I felt like the Frankie Bomp Suki breeding was better. And I think that Frankie Bomp and Komodo was really good. I think Frankie Bomp and Rosebud was excellent. Frankie Bomp Miss Bull is excellent. Um, Frankie Bomp has produced really, really high caliber dogs with pretty much everything I've bred him to, except for Black Betty. But the Black Betty Frankie Bomp breeding was not as impressive as some of the other breedings that Frankie Bomp's been a great producer. He's probably the best producing pit bull I've ever owned in my life. He's just really a great producer. But as far as what am I going to stick Black Betty with, I may stick her with Boomer, which is her half brother. So that way we got some more sorrels coming in, but without it being too tight.
Mm. That makes sense. And then yeah, because she I like to see what she can do, or even with a Sentinel, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, my favorite pit bulls are going to be right now. It's going to be as far as females go. If I do part with some, I'm gonna definitely keep Pumpkin. I'm gonna keep Bacote, and I'm gonna keep Banshee, and I'm gonna keep Scarlet. Those four will stay here for sure. And then if there's anybody else, Crimson may go to Lavi. He and I've talked about that. Rosebud, she's
So
getting up.
you Crimson, the one that you showed me the picture earlier?
No, that was Pumpkin.
Pumpkin, okay, that's right. Okay, I get the names mixed up. Okay, yeah, Pumpkin.
Yep.
Okay.
Pumpkin and Bacote and Banshee are staying here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we may end up letting Lavi have some of the other females. Rosebud is a phenomenal, phenomenal producer. She really is. She's getting up there in years, and for me to work with some of the young dogs, I may let her go. Mickey is interested in her. Mickey Smith, he's interested in her getting her back. We may work something out with him. We're in discussions about a possibility. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. We'll see. Sometimes, we all have our own goals, and for a deal to work, both parties need to be happy. If both parties can't be happy, then it's a no go.
But you also got Kion too.
Cayenne, yeah, Cayenne's here. She's doing great. I've got some new pictures of her. We're going to be posting those up later today because I actually just took them when I took the pictures of Pumpkin.
Yeah, Miss Bull's daughter. And then you got the Marvel. She only a couple months old. Okay.
Marvel, yeah. Marvel is double bred on Frankie Bomb. She's staying here. I really like the Sorrel's blood, and I really like Frankie Bomb. So if they're off of Frankie Bomb and they're heavy Sorrels, they're probably staying here. And we have a young dog named Miss Bandit. She's a real nice dog too.
That's off of Sadie. And Frankie Bomb and Sadie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just hard to grow on the Sentinels when I keep holding on to these pit bulls. So with somebody like Lavi who I can trust, it's easier to let go of the pit bull because I know that they're still in the family. He's a good dude, and I can rely on him like I can rely on you. He's just a man of his word.
Yeah, that'd be good, and that makes it easier, and it makes it
Yep.
more efficient, and it makes the whole overall program pro. So, because to get where you got, like, it definitely takes a team, because it's like
Trust
it's the biggest in the
trust
world.
is earned. Trust
True.
is earned,
Yeah.
and a lot of people want you to trust them, but they haven't earned it. And when I have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours
Mm.
in producing an animal, and I got an apex animal, and I'm sitting here thinking about possibly letting it go.
Yeah.
I gotta trust you, man. I gotta trust you.
So, well, one question I didn't actually for all the hobby breeders out there, or anyone watching worldwide, can you break down some of the challenges of being a breeder to the biggest band dog program? Some of the daily activities. Have you taken a vacation? Little things like that on which you really got to know about
Have I taken a what?
a vacation.
What's that? What's a vacation?
A
How do
vacation.
you spell that? I need to look that up on Google. What is that? What is a vacation?
So yeah, talk about that, Lee, because people think it's like all easy, and they be like, "I would love to be Lee," but like you said, you got to put the work in. Like, what are some of the daily things like you got to deal with?
All right. Um, this is gonna sound crazy, but I told you earlier today that if you live 100 years, that's 36,500 days,
Right.
right? All right. So that's 24 hours a day. Out of those 24 hours, let's say you sleep and eat and do laundry for 8.
Hmm.
Eat, sleep, and do laundry in 8. You have 16 hours left. I'm washing poop out of kennels about 1.5 hours
Mm.
a day.
And this is
Poop
daily, y'all. Listen to what he's
da-
saying, y'all. Okay.
daily. So if I need to catch up on, um, if I want to listen to like a radio or news, or um, or if I need to get my thoughts together, that is thinking time. It's not poop washing time. It's thinking time. Or maybe I'm talking to a customer. So you have to be able to multitask. If you just wash and poop, that means 1/10 of your life is washing poop. You can't spend a tenth of your life washing poop. You need to be multitasking. So
Mm.
you need to be able to listen to books on tape. You need to develop that education while you're doing that. Go through pedigrees in your mind. Get thoughts out that you need to have. My Facebook Messenger is full of messages from me to me about things that I need to do. So it's a
Mm.
time for me to organize and be efficient, or maintain efficiency. That's one thing that I do. Um, the Study your pedigrees, know your dogs inside and out, know their parents. Memorizing the names is not as important as memorizing the traits. So what I mean by that is I'll look at the dog and I'll go back and I'll look at the names of the dogs, and I'll find the traits of the dogs, and I look for consistency of traits. Then I'll decide if this pedigree is good or bad. And if I put it in the good pile, I might not even remember all the names, but I remember it's good and I know that I went through it. Because if you look at one pedigree in one generation, you got two. In two generations, well, actually, you got the individual. In one generation, you got three, because I got that individual plus its two parents. You go back another generation and you've got four more. So that's now 8. Well, I take that back. So you got 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 7. So now you're at 7. So you go back another generation. So it's 2, 4, 6, or 2, excuse me, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So you're getting a lot of dogs real quick, because you got the one dog, the two dogs, and the four dogs, and the 8 dogs, the 16 dogs, the 32 dogs, and the 64 dogs. You're not going to remember all these names and the traits of every single one, but you're going to try to find consistency of performance and consistency of traits. And I want to see consistency of traits generation after generation after generation. Because when you have consistency of traits like you see in the game dogs, those dogs when you're looking for a game dog, don't just go for a game bred pedigree. Go for a pedigree from game bred dogs, ADBA registered through the camps of people that were involved in game bred dogs. If you're the problem with the Mayday dogs is there's a bunch of people that got Mayday dogs that have never been involved in anything about game bred dogs. They've never hog hunted. They've never done any type of work, and so those traits you don't know if they're consistent or not. In fact, uh, there's one of the biggest breeders of the Mayday blood. He has a kennel online. I'm not going to mention his name. His dogs were completely flat. He had a kennel tour video, and it was kennel after kennel after kennel after kennel with nothing, no separation between kennels. And you have a male dog after a male dog after a male dog after a male dog, all lined up next to each other, and they can see each other and they're walking around like Labradors, no intensity whatsoever.
Mm.
So you know what? Why was he having dogs like that? He ended up taking that video down because it got back to him that his dogs were flat. They were not showing any type intensity at all. You shouldn't be able to have four male American Pit Bull Terriers uh, next to a fence and no barriers. If I did that with my dogs, they would hurt themselves. They'd maul their face up trying to get at each other.
Mm.
So, you know, to maintain the traits of a high intensity animal, it's like putting MMA fighters. What is that TV show where they had the MMA fighters?
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
know. I forgot the name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
they're in a building, you're going to have chaos. You can't have all these alpha male mentalities in the same area. You have to separate them, and so it's important. So kennel repairs are constant. 2 days ago, I had to do a kennel repair. When we first put up those panels that separate our dogs, we used a wire that was a little bit lighter. It was steel, but it was little bit lighter than we wanted. We should have used a little thicker wire, so we had to step up in the gauge. So we went back and some of the dogs would grab the PVC pipe that's at the end of the sheet metal that covers up the edge. The dogs can't touch the sharp edge. They would grab that PVC pipe and wiggle it, and it would break the wire. So we had to take those wires out and put in heavier wires. Do things like that once in a while. And there's nothing about the dogs that bothers me. I'm comfortable except for the barking, and we've got that pretty good under control. We've we've got that pretty well. It doesn't bother me so much right now. You know, we've got it where the dogs are not really barking much, but the dogs don't bother me. The worst part is inconsiderate people. If any of my clients that have ever had a problem that need to contact me, I want them to call me anytime they need me. But if I've never sold you a dog, I don't know your dogs, and you have a problem with your dog, don't call me at 2 a.m.
Mm.
People will call me at 2 a.m. and they want to ask a question about why their dog has a prolapse and if they should breed it. I'm like, first of all, this is not an emergency call at 2 a.m. Second of all, you should contact your breeder or your veterinarian, not me. So that's one of the problems. When you start to get pretty popular, um, I don't want to say that I'm famous, but
I got
my phone will ring off the hook, and so I still have a family. I have my life. You know, I've got my children, I've got my wife, and so sometimes it gets a little bit overbearing because I might in the morning or while I'm washing the kennels develop a list of things to do, and then as the day goes by, I've only gotten 25% of my list done because of the constant interruptions. I had a guy come the other day. He drove from way up north. He was supposed to come to pick up his dog. He is not able to make it. We work with him. Okay, we'll reschedule. Then he wants to come later, and we reschedule. Well, then my son's got a tennis match, and
mm.
he's already missed 2 appointments now. So now I'm wanting to go to my son's tennis match. I'm sorry, I'm going to go to my son's tennis match. We already had 2 appointments. You couldn't come. So then he's like, okay, well, I'll come later. I'll come after the match is over. Maybe I'll come at like 6 o'clock. Well, he didn't get here until 9:15
Mm.
at night, and then he hung out until 11. And so that's just the way some people live. And if he watches this video, he'll see it that yeah, it bothers me. And I'm not trying to be rude. I try to entertain it. There's a fine line of, you know, I'm
Makes
a 54-year-old man with a family. And I got to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, so I don't really want to be up until 11:30 dealing with a customer or 11 o'clock dealing with a customer because then when the customer leaves, I still have to go in and get ready for bed, right? So you know, that's one of the biggest inconveniences. People are not as considerate as people are familiar with their lifestyle, but this is a business. And since it's a business and it's a lifestyle for me, I feel like it should be careful about getting into this business, um, and thinking that it's just a business because it's also a lifestyle. And you're going to have people that think it's not a business and they think it's just a lifestyle.
It's
So,
a
but it's
game. That's
both.
why I said people think stuff just a game, and they just see with these dogs. They don't see the work that you put in.
Yeah, they don't understand. This is from 5 a.m. until 10 p.m. almost
And then
every
you
day.
got to deal with new breedings.
Yeah.
You might have
And
you might have two females come have bait. I've seen it where you got back to back like Pitbull.
yeah, and we can't
Yeah,
always do the breedings that we want to do because one of the things that females you'll wait on a female to come in the heat. You wait on a female to come in the heat. Wait on a female to come in the heat. You got 4 females that you want to breed this, or 5 females that you want to breed this year. You want to really breed all 5 of them this year, and then boom, they all come in the heat at the same time. And you're like, I can't raise 5 litters at once.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
So
so,
then and it might be the one that you wanted to do the most comes in heat at last. So you're like, oh, now I gotta like
so you,
postpone that one. Yeah.
wow, got to deal with
So
that. Wow,
it's
that's
tough.
yeah, that's
But no, I guess I would say for the person that wants to be a breeder, there's a fine line of being polite to your customer and being professional and respectful, but without being walked on. You don't want to. You got to have. You know, I I
have boundaries. You got
I
to.
want my phone number on my website. I want my customers to be able to call me when they need help, but I want them to also know, okay, it's late. I should probably wait till tomorrow, and just be respectful.
At the time on there, Lee, maybe you need to. You got it pretty late. You got to like 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? So
I thought
maybe
it was 8 to 8. I
well,
thought it was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
most people on East. It's 9 o'clock my time.
Sure, but
Yeah,
8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that means for you, you can call from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. But for me, because it's 8 for 8, that's 12
yeah,
hours a day. That should be more than enough.
yeah. That's way more. That's way more than enough. That's way. That's way more. You can say you can say 8 to 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 8 to 6. Or
Yeah, I
just
don't. The only people that I don't mind if they come at, like, let's say somebody shows up at 1 o'clock in the morning. There's a time and place for that. It actually works when you're dealing with a transporter. And the
yeah,
reason why it's okay for a transporter is
yeah,
because the transporters are professional. They might be driving like across 5 states,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
get to your house at 1 o'clock in the morning. But here's the difference: a transporter doesn't need a yard tour. A transporter is going to be here, get their dog, get the paperwork, and get on the road. And they don't need a yard tour. But when it's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, and you come here and you want to see all the dogs are going to go crazy. They're going to be barking at you. You don't belong here. My neighbors are going to be mad. My kids are going to be woke up. They got school the next day. It's just not cool.
I understand. I guess you're an anomaly because most breedings, like if I see certain breedings, you don't know. Like it'd be like certain bandos in the different countries. You don't know like the pedigree at all. They don't have the list of the pedigrees. They don't.
Yeah, we're going to do better on that even. I mean,
Yeah,
we have the
they
pedigree.
don't have nothing. So you like, what kind of dog? Like, well, I would at least want to see the pedigree and say just this and this and this, and
Yeah, and we're going to be adding a pedigree database for our American Sentinels as well. Right now we have pedigrees for the pit bulls, but we're going to be putting a pedigree
oh,
database for the American Sentinels. That's going to be nice. And hey, when somebody is really out of line, we will not sell them a dog. Um,
mm,
we had somebody call us the other day. I was visiting with the in-laws, and they called and they were trying to tell me about, again. Hey, some of these people. This happens often enough that I'm going to tell you stories that are current, and
wow,
this person's going to maybe see your video and be like, "Why are you talking about our phone call?" Well, so this guy asks a question. I'm not going to sell him a dog. Um, he should know I'm not going to sell him a dog. I haven't gotten back to him, but he was telling about his mentor is some monk that can use kung fu and chi and knock a person out by just touching them, and they go fly across the room. Like, okay, you're living in fantasy land. And in my opinion, anybody that lives in fantasy land doesn't need a guard dog. It'll kill somebody.
They think that was a joke. I'm gonna put there's certain videos of Jaguar. I'm not even gonna put it out to the public so people can really see it. I tried that because like YouTube will strike you and stuff like that. I'm not gonna put it out there. It's really not a game.
It's not a game. But this guy literally told me that this monk could touch you and you'd fly across the room. And I told him, I said, I don't believe it. And he goes, well, no, this is 100% real. Would you believe it if you could see it? I'm like, if you could see it, then they would win in MMA. And if you put them in MMA, these monks always get their butts kicked. You ever seen these videos of these like 70-year-old monks and they go out there to try to fight somebody and they just get cold clocked and it's almost like beating on an elderly person?
Maybe
And
Lee just felt like he was just like you're a cool guy. He just wanted to kick it with you. You know what I'm saying? And then that's it.
yeah, but he's really trying to convince me about how these herbal medicines can. He said that I've got this herbal medicine that it fixes, it solves all the problems in your body if you drink this herb. It cures cancer. It makes you feel young. It heals all the problems that you'll ever have. And I was like, well, don't tell me about it. Send me some documentation on it. He goes, well, why would you need documentation when you can just take it and you'll feel good? And I'm like, well, apparently cocaine makes people feel good too, but I'm not going to try that.
Is he trying to sell you something or did he want a dog?
He wants a dog, but my point is when people are so radical, um, you just have to kind of be careful about putting. People need to have with itness. They need to be aware of what's real and what's fantasy. And if a dog is capable of ending a man's life, you saw that in Campton not long ago, right, where that man was killed by those American bullies or XL dogs
Yeah,
that they called pit bulls.
in California. Yeah, it was probably American
Yeah,
Bullies. Yeah.
yep. The man that had those dogs lacked witness. He didn't know what was going on because if he knew what was going on, he'd know how to handle it. They're not
Yeah.
the politicians that are on the news that are calling them pit bulls. They're not pit bulls. You can see these giant blue dogs. They're not pit bulls. They're either American bullies or XLs or something like that,
Yeah.
or they're some sort of mastiff, Neapolitan Mastiff or Cane Corso cross or something. They weren't pit bulls. But people they're oblivious to reality. People think they can drink and drive and be on their cell phone at the same time, and they have no awareness of what's going on around them. And when you have a guard dog, you need to be aware of what's real and what's not real, what's responsible, what's not responsible.
So you will sell a reasonable client a dog even if it's their first like protection dog, but you just
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
yeah because you do
You
got to
just
start
have to. Everybody starts somewhere. This dog is not any harder to keep for a person that's responsible.
right.
Yeah.
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 No dog fighting, no nothing like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen some people say the dogs are stubborn and you need to be a strong handler. No, they're not. They're not stubborn, and they're determined. But if you get in their face and tell them knock it off, they'll knock it off.
yeah,
The worst thing that you can do is have a panic. You ever seen those people that kind of panic when a spider or a mouse is on the floor and they freak out and scream? Okay,
yeah,
this is not the dog for that type of person, because when puppies are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks old, you run across the room, the puppy bites your ankle, you scream, you jump, you run. Now the puppy's going to chase you even faster
yeah.
because you're building that prey drive, right? So if you're the type of person that's going to be calm and say, "Hey, that hurts, but let me bend over, pick the puppy up, tell them knock it off, give it something appropriate to do."
Yeah, that makes sense. So you just got to be like nice and calm, and then it's so much information out there too, and learn.